Did you know the world's largest solar power plant just got a major upgrade in Nevada?
Yeah, the Gemini Solar Project, right? It recently expanded to produce over 690 megawatts, enough to power about 260,000 homes.
Exactly. And it's part of a bigger push in the US to shift toward renewable energy, especially in the Southwest, where sunlight is abundant.
What's really interesting is how solar tech is evolving. Not just panels, but battery storage too, helping manage energy when the sun isn't shining.
Right, and with the Inflation Reduction Act providing incentives, projects like Gemini could become the new normal.
So the big question is, how will this shift impact our energy grid and everyday lives in the next decade?
That's a conversation worth having. What do you think?
Well, I think we're going to see a lot more localized energy production. Instead of relying so heavily on centralized power plants, we could see neighborhoods or even individual homes generating their own power.
That's true. And with improvements in battery storage, it means we'll be less reliant on fossil fuels to back up our energy needs during peak times.
Exactly. Plus, energy storage systems are getting more affordable and efficient. It could totally change how we think about electricity, less about consuming and more about managing it.
And don't forget the environmental impact. A shift to solar could drastically reduce carbon emissions, especially if we start phasing out coal and natural gas plants.
It's a huge step in the right direction, but there are still challenges. For one, building infrastructure to handle this kind of energy change isn't simple.
No doubt. The grid needs to be upgraded to handle all these new inputs, and the transition could take some time.
But it's worth it, right? If the US can take the lead on this, we could help set a global standard for renewable energy.
Absolutely. And with incentives like the Inflation Reduction Act, there's real momentum behind it now.
But it's not just about solar panels, right? We need innovation across the board. Better wind, hydro, even geothermal energy.
That's true. Solar might get the most attention, but to really make a difference, we need a diversified renewable portfolio.
Agreed. It'll be fascinating to see where we are in 10 years, maybe even sooner.
For sure. The next decade could be a game changer. The big question is, how prepared are we to handle it?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. But I think with projects like Gemini and policy backing, we're moving in the right direction.
Absolutely. Let's hope we keep that momentum going.